YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. I forgot to tab over to the other scene. There we go. So back in Total War Attila. Hope you're all ready for some Age of Charlemagne online action. These battles are not going to be like competitive level, but hopefully it'll just give you a chance to see some of the units, see a little bit more. I'm going to play as the Kingdom of Asturias here. I didn't really know what to go with because I didn't know what to expect from my opponent, as I'd never played him before, so I was like, you know what, I don't really know what to do. So I decided to bring like a big sword rush. The Kingdom of Asturias has decent mid-tier sword infantry. It's not great. Their cavalry is where they lack. They don't have any anti-cavalry melee cav. All their cavalry is sword-armed, which can be helpful at mopping up, you know, like axe units and other stuff like that, archers, but they're going to be bad at fending off enemy cavalry, so I have to... But what they lack there, they have, you know, decent tools. They have these levy spears, which are handy. And then I'm also rocking a couple of these ambusher units, which are nice high-attack spear units with 5 javelins. So basically my idea was I'm going to try and sword rush, overwhelm, maybe even charge into some enemy melee infantry with these Iberian cavalry to get a few kills, while just holding off enemy cavalry. My opponent has 4 of these Berber Genets, which are a dangerous Jav Cav unit if used properly, and he has 4 armored archers up front. His main line is what's odd. He's brought just Berber warriors, which is a very strange pick. And then he's stacked on cavalry. He's got 4 armored cavalry, or 3 armored cavalry and an Umayyad guard cav. So a very strange mainline pick. The spears, I don't know how he can hope that these spears are going to hold up a mainline, because they really can't versus spears. Now if he was playing against, say, like an Avar faction where you know it's going to be a lot of horsemen and less likely to see good spears than, or swords, then maybe that was a solid pick. Here I'm just trying to get him to waste ammo on his Berber Genets, and he is doing this, so that's perfect. I can sacrifice this cheap spear unit and soak up, you know, half or more of the ammo off these Berber Genets, so that's a great trade for me, and then I'll send in the ambushers to do it next. There's the ambushers up close if y'all wanted to see them. Yeah, and at this point, I mean, it's a very straightforward strategy. You can see what I'm up to here. It's just straight melee rush. Rush before his archers can do a lot of damage to my infantry, which apparently have a decent block chance because didn't take any losses there. But yeah, I'm going to overwhelm his infantry line and then push his cavalry. So you can see here I'm stacked with spears and swords. I'm going to push his cavalry and make a hole. So as I push this way, my Iberian cav are going to thread this needle here and go push his archers off the battle. So my Iberian cavalry are light and fast. Medium, I should say, but they're still fast, and they're going to get to his archers, and by the time his heavier cavalry reacts, it's too late. I'm going to push him off, and then I can chase him with spears. So this is going to be a nice strategy for me to get rid of some of his missiles early, and all the while, he really needs to rear charge my swords to have any chance of survival, because this mainline fight is never going to go in favor of the spearmen. My swords don't have huge attack, so it will last a little while, but eventually this is going to grind out heavily in their favor. And here you can see this is the kind of mistake that I was hoping to create. So now his general being caught by some of my swordsmen, and my Iberian cavalry leading his cavalry out on a goose chase, which is great because now it's not on position. His archers have actually had a great opportunity to snipe my general, and he did not take it, so that was a mistake. And I realize it here in a minute. I'm like, holy crap, my general's sitting here right in bow range, but fortunately my opponent did not notice it. At this point I have the option of doing the same thing and threading around this flank, but since his cavalry's there, I'm just going to hold these guys just to make sure that the Berber Genets can't do anything. They're out of ammo, so I don't think they'll be useful at this point. But since I have the mainline fight easily in control, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So yeah, you can see my Iberian cavalry split up, his cavalry again on that goose chase, and then the Iberian cavalry are going to do what they do best here, which is go after soft infantry targets like these skirmishers. They're going to do extremely well in this type of fight because of their swords that they fight with. Now, of course, heavy cavalry can do very well against archers too, but you know, this is going to be nice for me. Now, the armored archers will last a little longer, but now my infantry here, again, can keep pushing on the archers while I get a sword infantry rear charge here on his main line. So here comes my my swords. I forgot what these guys are called. Armored swordsmen. Yeah, very simple name there. See, I'm going to get in the back of these already doomed Berber warriors. So these guys are going to now be surrounded. So now the Berber line is going to start cracking very quickly because it's taking heavy losses. And my Iberian cavalry here is going to rack up an absurd number of kills on armored archers, which is going to be really nice for me. So this ends up being a pretty big win for me just because my opponent had completely the wrong army for facing what I had here. I like the armored archers. Those are a good solid pick. Archers do a lot of damage in this expansion, and I don't disagree with it. And the thing is, though, is against the Kingdom of Asturias, you don't need the heavily armored cavalry like he brought. You could have brought cheaper cavalry because Asturias has only the sword cavalry, and it's easier to keep them in check with the cheaper cavalry, and he definitely should have brought some Andalusian warriors. So I'll go do a little build that I think would have been a more solid build for the Emirate of Cordoba. But yeah, at this point, it's pretty much writing on the wall. I'm going to fast forward his cavalry. I give them a bit of a chase here. It's not too much. My opponent's not going to just like run away until a timer runs out or anything. It's not like it's a match-made battle, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'll just fast forward. And I'll get you the last couple of close-ups as we do this. I'm going to send some Iberian Cav out after his Berber Jeannettes. His Jeannettes would not beat my Iberian Cav in melee. I think they have better melee attack stats, but their damage is awful. So these units have high attack but very poor damage. So they can be useful, but I mean, you all saw me use them in a battle, but they're not going to be fantastic. Here my spearmen are going to interrupt his armored cavalry, so now I can actually just try and pin him with the Iberian Cav, which would die in prolonged melee to all his armored cavalry, but this just gives me what I need. This Iberian cavalry will cut down the Berber Jeannettes. And then over here I can just flood in with infantry, and then also I'm going to bring my own general around. So this ends up being the last stand for the Emirate of Cordoba. They put up a nice brave stand here. But I mean, you can see my cavalry here gets cut down very handily, as expected. It's really my spears that are doing any work here. Spears are pretty decent versus cavalry in this expansion, which is nice to see. It's been since like Shogun 2 since spears have been worthwhile, really. Yeah, I've got more cavalry just to make sure the enemy doesn't run away, and then I'm going to charge my general in also, and I've got brace ability on him, so it'll give him a small bonus versus cavalry, so there's my general. Yep, so Emirate of Cordoba surrounded and defeated. Hope y'all enjoyed this battle. Like I said, we'll go take a look at what army might have been a slightly better choice, I think, for the Emirate of Cordoba, just to give some advice in case anybody's curious. Yep, there you go. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward out the rest of that because it is pretty straightforward what happens there. So we'll end the replay and head on back out to the main menu where we can go into a custom battle. And in the custom battle, let's pull up the Emirate of Cordoba. Yeah, so fighting against the Kingdom of Asturias, you know that they have decent mid-tier swords, you know that they have crap cavalry when it comes to anti-cavalry, and you know that they don't have any archers. So I like the choice of the armored archers because then now I have a long-range skirmish advantage. Real simple. Andalusian infantry and Andalusian warriors are both pretty decent for the price. So I would have brought a mix of these guys, maybe like gone 4 and 4. Because again, Kingdom of Asturias has those mid-tier swords. Now I can match those mid-tier swords, at least for a while. You got to have a general, of course. We need to go in the settings and we'll do the large funds. So now we have a little bit of money left over. We've got a decent sword line. We need some cavalry. The Berber Jeannettes are probably not real necessary versus Asturias because, again, their cavalry is not going to be a threat to your cavalry head-on. So either the Berber light cav or really these horsemen would have been a good pick. They have a nice attack, good attack versus cavalry. They're fairly light and fast. So you could have ended up with 4 of these guys. And this army right here would have been fairly dangerous to me. He would have had a sword line that would have matched my own fairly well. The Andalusian warriors, I believe, would beat my guys in prolonged melee. He had armored archers, so he could have kept my general away from the fight. He could have kept my sword horsemen in check, because I would have been trying to charge these guys. Obviously, he has some other options. I mean, he could just ditch the Andalusian warriors if he wants, and take more Andalusian infantry, just for the sake of a cheaper build, so he could do something like this. Where, let's say, for instance, he wants to just plop more of these guys in because they're cheaper. Maybe they don't win in the long run versus my guys, but now he can put more men on the field. So if he brings 8 of those, he's got a very big main line. And now he can even go a little bit further. Now those Berber warriors that he was fancying, I'd probably just go with this Berber levy. He can, well actually no, he's got enough money. So if we were to do something like this army right here probably would have crushed what I would have brought, and then he could have taken the rest of his funds and maybe dropped an upgrade. Nope, not on all of them, but on a lot of them. Something like this. And there you go. That army right there would have been very difficult for me to beat, I believe, as Asturias. Not impossible, but probably very difficult. So, hope you all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now. I'll see you all back soon.